Well, hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Hope everybody's having a great day. I am. I'm really trying to get myself back into gear. I've had a hard time um, getting motivated to get up off my fat ass. Actually, my wife said, "You don't have a fat ass. You got a cute one, but it ain't fat." Okay, all right. My fat belly. How about that? Um, the weather is just gorgeous out here, so I've got my garden out here for the groundhog. So I'm getting it planted so he'll have some fresh vegetables and things, and getting the grass cut before I head back up the road to get back to work on some other stuff. I been asked by quite a few people about, you know we need a number two wide receiver. We know we need a number two wide receiver. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I pointed out in my video earlier about how much it costs to get rid of Amari Cooper, and it's a major mistake that the Cowboys made that we're still trying to figure out how to fix. Between the $6 million of dead money that we took the first year, you think about the $32 million that we paid for Michael Gallup that didn't work out. You think about the $19 million we paid for Brandon Cooks, and you think about the third round trade for Jalen Tolbert and the fourth round trade that we made for Jonathan Mingo. All this, and we're still without a receiver. This may be one of the biggest mistakes that the Cowboys made by not keeping Amari Cooper and finding a way to coexist. Be that as it may, we're trying to rectify that. Now, my man Game Time Brian thinks that we're going to sign Amari Cooper and things. There still may be some hard feelings from Amari Cooper's camp from how things ended, and basically got sent to Siberia, meaning getting sent to Cleveland. And you may think, man, I don't want to go back to that mess. I remember how crazy it was. And I still have some reserve feelings about it, because sometimes Amari Cooper had a tendency to check out, and he had the injuries and things, and he's older now. Be that as it may, Amari Cooper's still better than anything we have. Some people think we should take a flyer on Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond, of course, Texas guy, so the Cowboys can do their due diligence and find out everything about Isaiah Bond and so on, because they know all the locals. Isaiah Bond, here's the thing. His college last year, he had, in 14 games, 34 receptions. How many yards was that? 38 receptions. He averaged almost 16 yards per reception and averaged about 38 yards a game. The problem with Isaiah Bond is the baggage. If you're Cowboys, typically this would be the kind of move that you make because he's a local guy. You've got that going for you. He's undrafted and he's damaged goods. And so they can get him on the cheap, because ultimately the Cowboys like to get players on the cheap. And they've done that before. We've been to the scratch and dent pile. We took a flyer on drafting Randy Gregory in the second round because he had fallen, of course, because of smoking weed. We did that one. We brought in Greg Hardy on a $8 million incentivized contract because he had some off the field issues too that he got away with, and that one kind of blew up in our face. And so you start thinking about, he's got this whole allegations and case that's going on of sexual assault. And so now you start thinking, is this where the Cowboys want to go? Because this is the polar opposite of exactly what Brian Schottenheimer has said he wanted. Brian Schottenheimer has pounded the table, and they listen. They have been listening, surprisingly, about the kind of guys that he wants on this roster. and he wants high character guys that are going to be motivated. And that's the polar opposite of what the Cowboys have been doing this offseason. They got rid of, or they let walk, D-Law, who we're finding out more and more now that there was kind of some issues in the locker room with him and Micah Parsons. And since Micah Parsons is producing more and a lot younger, they're going to go, of course, with Micah Parsons. And so you're trying to change the character of the team. You're trying to change the perception of what you do. If you turn around and bring in Isaiah Bond, I don't want to put it like this because then I sound like I am talking out of both sides of my neck. If you were talking about somebody who was, talent-wise, a little bit more, we're talking about 2.25 receptions a game. 2.25 receptions a game. That's what we're talking about here. We're not talking about a guy who, is a Heisman Trophy winner, a guy who's just been blowing you out of the water. There's no guarantee that he's going to be a lights-out wide receiver. And so you have to weigh taking the chance on a guy who's got a character issue that is definitely going to bring the kind of attention that you don't want. And then it's also wrecking your reputation of what you said you were trying to do. You were saying we're trying to get high character guys. We're saying we're trying to get team leaders. And then you go out and you sign a knucklehead. Forgive me, I'm assuming he's a knucklehead. And I'm going to tell you guys, you know what? There is no woman out there worth ruining your life over. Period. If she don't like you, move on. Find somebody else. Okay? Don't try to, guys, beat somebody into submission, rule over them, think that you're going to change them. Hey, bro, there are millions of women out there. Okay? Millions of women out there. Don't get yourselves all fascinated and hooked up and thinking this is the only one, or thinking I got to rule over. Trust me. I don't know what happened with Isaiah Bond that he felt the need to assault somebody. Bro, you about to get ready to get drafted into the NFL. I never understand this shit. I never understand this stuff. Darren Sharper having to drug women. You're a multimillionaire. You're on NFL Network. You're a Super Bowl champion. You're telling me you got to drug some women? Seriously? Nah, bro. Nah. If it ain't working, get out of that situation, because, see, that situation, and I don't know who's to blame in this. I don't know who's to blame. But you put yourselves in positions that screw up your life. So now, bro, Isaiah Bond would be a no for me.